Hey everybody, wanted to chat today about healing crisis, spiritual healing crisis and emotional healing crisis. Sounds a bit dodgy, doesn't it? But the healing crisis is when we try to enter a period of healing. We want to do our work, whether it's emotional healing or spiritual healing, which usually cross over and are two of the same thing in many ways. And we want to do it and have it done yesterday. I come across it all the time, and I've also been somebody who's wanted instant gratification in the past. And I learnt the hard way about what a healing crisis is and why we get them. It's so important not to look for quick fixes in life. We all do it. But if we try to heal instantly, we want to know exactly how to get from A to B with no pain, instant, done, processed. Doesn't work. Because actually, if we did it that quick, there's one of two things that will happen. The first is that we haven't really healed because we haven't gone there. And to do real, true healing, we have to go into that energy, into that space and be in it and be with what comes up. Now, as humans, we try to escape that and avoid. If we go into healing too quick and we really do go into those dark and dingy places and we're not prepared and we're doing it every single day, what happens is we have what's called a healing crisis, where actually it's unbearable. Life isn't manageable. We're in so much pain because the root of healing, whether it's spiritual healing or whether it's therapy, is we have to go there to what is hurting us. And that can take a very long time because you have to do it bit by bit by bit, just like the pain that had happened probably came in bit by bit by bit. If we were to go right to the depth and the root of that pain in a second, which in spiritual healing we can, it can be disastrous because you've got to live with that. Whatever you drag up, whether it's karmic baggage, whether it's this life stuff, whether it's past life stuff, whether it's 3 years worth of trauma, in 1 hour, you've got to sit with that. It's not bearable. It's really healthy to see healing as a journey. And there is richness in that journey. I always like to say that if you've been through some really tough things, try not to let it be in vain. How can you grow and evolve and become a stronger person because of that than you were before? And in order to do that, you've got to tread very carefully, because if you're having to go back to some very dark memories, some dark feelings, some dark experiences, you've got to sit there for a while. Why would you want the intensity heaped into 2 minutes? Because that would be what would happen. The longer you take to do the healing, the more you'll understand with true clarity, with truth, not just a quick oversight of everything. But when you start to feel it little bit by little bit, it becomes bearable. And what we do is we dilute the pain. We dilute the trauma. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. Doesn't mean it's ever going to stop being horrendous, but we get a little bit more comfortable with whatever went on, so that when we're thinking of it, it doesn't have the power over us in the here and now that it did back then. When we're not always dealing with our trauma, or it's so unbearable, we fall into addiction, and then we manage to have a coping mechanism to avoid the pain. But that's not going to take away the healing crisis. In fact, addiction can make the pain even worse, because it can take us to that heavy emotional place that we've been trying to avoid, and we sit with it forever and a day. We don't process it, we get stuck in it. So a healing crisis, really summed up, is about take your time with healing. Give it the honour and the respect it deserves, because of whatever you've been through that has put you in the pain that needs healing in the first place. You deserve that respect to yourself, to take your time to heal. Because if you have all of that pain generated into a 1 hour session, and it was 2 years worth of pain in 1 hour, really? That's a healing crisis. That's where people will plummet. That's where breakdowns happen. That's where people regress and get stuck. That's where people stop wanting to reach for help because they're too scared of what it's going to do. So we take our time with healing. But every time we go through it a bit more, we get stronger than the version of ourselves prior. And that is the gift.